Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
Guys, welcome into the PTA pregame show. My name's Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access, joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob joining us here shortly. I don't know what he's doing, right? You never know what that guy's doing, but we'll have him in here. Maybe Emilio will wake up in time too. We'll talk a little ball this morning as the Packers are ready to take on the New York Giants in a very, very, very windy Meadowlands up there at MetLife Stadium. I don't know. Is it still called Meadowlands, Tim? Do we know? I know it's called.
You know us old school guys. We're just going to keep calling it what it is,
always
right?
Called the Meadowlands,
still the Meadowlands, but I think it's MetLife Stadium now.
MetLife Stadium, where knees go to die, right? I know there's several people that have complained about the turf there, but I don't know, man. It just you see mixed reports nowadays. I'm a grass guy, obviously. Not a grass guy like Jacob, but a grass guy. I'd rather play football on grass. Has nothing to do with smoking it, but I'm just joking, Jacob. So people got to think Jacob's the worst person in the world from the shots I take, but it's just the way it is. So I heard former players explain it to me. It's the bounciness of the turf, right? They say it's like you're running on a trampoline almost, as opposed to grass kind of giving a little bit and not springy, Yeah. So that's the reason ligaments typically go, from the best of my knowledge. But hopefully everybody stays safe out there. But the big thing today, Tim, that we're going to lead off with, Jacob Morley tweeting this out. I want the coach to throw the ball more too, but New York is the worst run defense in the league, as we talked about earlier in the week, and the wind is howling. All right. Today is not the day to criticize the coach about running the ball. So I think it was Tyler Herrick tweeted out, 4 miles north of the stadium is reporting winds out of the northwest at 24 knots, gusting to 34. So those wind gusts are going to probably get up around 40 miles per hour. And what did we convert that to, Tim? What it ended up being about, 26 mile an hour or something like that on the low end, 25?
Yeah, 27. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we learned together that a knot is 1.1, right? Conversion to 2 miles per hour. So the more you know here on PTA. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It kind of plays into the Packers' hands. The Packers have a solid run defense, right? They got Jameis Winston out there, who can be a turnover machine, but he can also kind of play fearlessly. Probably the game they're going to want to try to establish the run as well. So you'll probably see a run-heavy game plan from both teams here. This is my kind of football, though. I love boring games like that, man. I love it when it's a good defensive game and guys are smacking face masks, in the running game. So I've kind of been very vocal this week, too, that I feel like Josh Jacobs is going to have a big game. I think this is a game that you can kind of get the running game right. And obviously they know that too, Tim. They know how bad they are at stopping the run, so they're probably going to load the box, and that may set up some passing situations. Maybe you can luck up and catch a situation where the wind isn't blowing as hard, and maybe Jordan Love can have a big game. But United Bates says here in the chat, it's still the Meadowlands Sports Complex. There you go, Tim. We're not dinosaurs, which contains MetLife, a racetrack, practice facility, and some other things, I believe. Yeah, I've only seen it from a distance, traveling up the coast of the Hudson on the Jersey side, right? And I looked over, and it literally looked like it was sitting in the middle of a pond or something, like it was in the middle of a swamp. So, interesting place to build a stadium. But nonetheless, man, been there for a long time in terms of, obviously that's a newer stadium, but they've always had a stadium over there for a while. A lot of great football played over there too, man. Bill Parcells Giants in that state, or not in that stadium, but that area. You had when Parcells went to the Jets, there was a short time when the Jets were actually pretty solid, right? I imagine that's the same exact area where Joe Namath, was it Joe Namath? Yeah, that played, right? Yeah. Broadway Joe, right? So, man, it feels like forever ago, dude. I remember growing up, he was all over the TV, drunk on telecast, having a good time, and now I haven't seen him in a while. So maybe when he runs out of money, he'll pop back up on the commercials again, right? That's how you.
For sure.
Yeah. What do you think about this, Tim? Is that how you're seeing it too, man? Going to be running the ball a lot today?
I think so. Just with the elements and everything. But I do think they're going to maybe try and get that short pass game going, attack when you can, get the ball out quick. The interesting thing about this matchup to me is it almost takes me back to, when Big Mike got the boot here in Green Bay, and we had Joe Philbin was the interim head coach. And, the Packers, those last few games, they kind of looked like a different team. looking at this Giants team, you've got Jameis Winston under center. You've got an interim head coach. To me, this feels like, a game that's going to be full of unscouted looks. It's kind of hard to watch tape on this Giants team and think that what they're going to try and do today. I would anticipate that with the elements and the wind, both teams probably try to keep it on the ground. Like you said, Clayton, kind of a defensive grinder of a game, kind of maybe a boring football game. But I do think the Packers are going to find a way to get out of here with a win and definitely put up more than 7 points or 10 points today for sure offensively.
Yeah, we want to know what everybody thinks in the chat. How do y'all see this game? Do you think it's going to be a run-heavy game? Do you think Matt and Jordan will say, "Oh, the hell with the win. We're going to go out there and throw the ball around"? How do y'all see it here moving into the kickoff window as we're roughly an hour and a half away? I guess something like that. Let's jump over to Matt Schneidman here, who had some important information as well. I'm sure you guys, there were several people that were on the morning show with me where I was just kind of breaking down this Malik Heath news, which is really, really strange. That if you guys haven't heard yet, if you're just now jumping in, Malik Heath did not travel with the team. So we're all kind of trying to put 2 and 2 together and figure out what happened there. Obviously, the receiving corps had been a little bit shorthanded. He didn't get as many snaps as I thought he would that last game. And like Tim had talked about, maybe that was the problem. I think I've seen several people in the chat say the same thing. But now we got Matt Schneidman tweeting out, Savion Williams is questionable, but just got off the bus in a walking boot on his left foot. So I don't know about you guys. I can never think of a time when a player showed up to the stadium with a walking boot and played in that game. Maybe you guys have.
And hopefully it's not today.
Right.
We just talked about the turf out there, right? Like, no, don't send him out there.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. That's going to be that's a tough look, man. And again, so who are your receivers, Tim? Let's think about it. I would assume since Malik Heath did not travel, you're going to have both Matthew Golden. Well, I was going to say both Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. Obviously not Savion Williams. So you're going to have Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavion Wicks, Matthew Golden. Of course, Bo Melton will be active if you need to use him. And then who else? Who are we thinking here?
I was just thinking Bo. That's your 5. That's right. What it seems like to me.
Yeah, so that'll be
interesting. That Malik. What a terrible timing for this, right? Malik's still in Green Bay, and we got Savion getting off the bus with a walking boot. Not a good look.
Right, and that's the thing too. Is like all those snaps that we seen with Bo Melton last week. I would just about guarantee you that all of those snaps will go to Matthew Golden if he doesn't get banged up in this game. Every now and again, somebody might take a lick and they have to go on the sideline for a few plays, that type of thing. Then you'll see Bo. If Matthew Golden is truly 100%, and they may have him limited too, right, Tim? If he does play, they may have it be, hey, we got him on a 20 snap count or something, right? If that's the case, then maybe he will, Bo Melton will get some snaps. But would really, really like to see Matthew Golden get all of those snaps, because I'm telling you, man, if that's Matthew Golden running those routes last week, I do feel like that's a different outcome to that game. Waffle Tapas in the chat. Hopefully that's nothing bad and I just got canceled. Might be more 88 flexed out too. That's a great point. And we kind of talked about that. Last week, Tim, when we went to 12 personnel and motioned the U into the backfield for an offset I and I, we got 2 explosive runs out of that set. One thing I will say is when we did that, I think Musgrave was on the sideline. So they pulled him off for those plays and then put him back out there for 11 and try to utilize him in the passing game. 3 targets, 3 catches, right? And he also drew a PI that equated to a 21-yard gain for the Packers as well. So what do you think about that, man? Get 88 flexed out there a little bit too.
Absolutely. Play to his strong suit, right? We know that's what he does and does well. He can also be a field stretcher for us, in the situational kind of environment, especially today, like, depending on how the wind is blowing. You got the wind at your back. Maybe it's time to send old Musgrave up and stretch the field, maybe take a shot if you can. But I love that, man. Absolutely. We're going to do it on the ground. We have to establish a run game in this ball game. But I agree. I think get 88 involved, especially if we're relatively thin at wide receiver right now.
This is absolutely wild, man. We just got some breaking news here. All right, on exactly what we were just talking about. And so our buddy Wendell Ferreira says over on X, Matthew Golden and Savion Williams are both active for the game. So this will be the first time we can mark that off the list that I've seen a player get off the bus with a boot on and he ended up playing. Now, maybe they'll really try to limit his snaps, obviously, right? But just trying to take a look here and see if we've got the inactive. Sleeper Packers has them here. So the Packers inactive players. I love how they make it look like Brandon McManus is wanted for a federal crime or something. So inactive players for today's game versus the Giants: kicker Brandon McManus, wide receiver Malik Heath, cornerback Nate Hobbs, offensive lineman Donovan Jennings, and defensive lineman Lucas Van Ness. We talked about that early in the week. Like if LVN is not 100%, don't put him out there.
Don't put him out there.
Yeah. No reason. The defense is playing just fine. Don't rush him out there, right? So I like that move. The Savion Williams is a little bit interesting now, though. But what do you think about that inactive list? How do you feel about it? Not a bunch of surprises there. And we get Haversick about to really get tested today, isn't he, Tim? We're going to know what we got after today if we have to kick a field goal or two in that win.
Absolutely. And that's why we need to do our job and not send them out there for 60-yarders. Let's if we're kicking field goals, man, it's 30, 40 yarders, and see if the kid can do it in the wind. I don't want this game coming down to another 60+ yard field goal. That's ridiculous. Get it done on the ground out there. But yeah, on this list, nothing super shocking. I agree with the move to hold LVN out one more week. Hopefully we get him back next week. But yeah, the Malik Heath thing, man, this seems like a game you'd want him active. And if Savion's got a walking boot, maybe it's precautionary and he's dealing with something, and maybe he's active because they're just going to utilize him in the return game. And maybe he's not out there running the flyer and those kind of things in the receiver sets. But, we're going to need big games from our big dog receivers, Rome and Scoot, Matthew Golden. Hey, this could be the Matthew Golden game. We've been waiting all season for the Matthew Golden breakout game. You look at it right now going into this one, all signs are pointing that if he's healthy and feeling okay, he's active. Maybe he's not on a snap count. Maybe it's cut this kid loose and let's target him today.
Yeah, and the other thing too is Matthew Golden, what he does well, right? I mean, he's got world-class speed. He's very twitchy. People are going to be mad, but there's going to be a short passing game. That's how you battle this win, right? In passing situations, you want to keep it 10 yards and under if it truly is gusting over 40 mile an hour. Run the ball, a lot of RPO looks. You'll probably see Matthew Golden on bubbles, smokes, things like that for most of the day as well. You want to keep that ball out of harm's way, no doubt about it. And we want to see a whole lot more of what Edgerrin Cooper did last week, punching that ball out and forcing those turnovers. So love to see a couple of those get uncovered today as well. We got Jacob joining us now. And Jacob, we just got the Packers inactive players for today's game versus the Giants. Kicker Brandon McManus obviously out. It sounded like he woke up Saturday and that quad was really tight. So what they've got now is obviously Haversick is going to kick. Wide receiver Malik Heath did not travel with the team. Cornerback Nate Hobbs is going to be out. Offensive lineman Donovan Jennings, defensive lineman Lucas Van Ness are out. So you're fairly healthy. The weird thing that we just uncovered, they said Savion Williams got off of the bus with a walking boot, but he is active today. So what's your thoughts on this inactive list?
Yeah, the Brandon McManus thing definitely is a little bit, I would say, worrisome, just because if he's hurt now and they finally admit that he's hurt, was he hurt these last few weeks? Was it something that they weren't quite telling us? I think that's a fair criticism to maybe give, and that would be one of the only fair criticisms lately that I've been hearing on social media. The Malik Heath thing, I'm sure that you covered it earlier with your podcast. I didn't get to listen to it. I was a little predisposed, but that one kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit, maybe lend some information as to why Bo Melton had so many snaps last week. Nate Hobbs, just get healthy, that kind of thing. Donovan Jennings, Lucas Van Ness, we kind of maybe expected that. I expect us to come out and win this game. It doesn't matter about the injury list to me at this point. Luke Haversick, I think he's proved that he can kick in this league and that he can kick from a very long distance. So, this is going to be a very good test for him. Yeah, actually, you've had a limited amount of snaps. I think he's like 5 for 5 or whatever it is. Now you actually have to come in a little bit of a heated matchup when you're on the road, where it really, really matters whether or not your kicks are going to be down the middle. So I'm excited to see how he responds to that pressure. And I'm just excited, man. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah, and Tim sent you a message in the private chat. Check your mic. We're getting the feedback. I don't hear it, but everybody in the chat hears it. I guess Tim hears it too. They said it sounds like a printer running or something. So just double check your mic there for us if you don't care. But yeah, all right. So I'm sure it's something simple.
I think your webcam stole your mic, Jacob. Go back to your wired mic.
All right, so moving along here, United Bates says, I'm about an hour and 45 south of MetLife. It's windy as hell here, definitely gusts of 40 or so. We've got a lot of wind down here in Tennessee, believe it or not, so it sounds like the whole east side of the United States is getting a little windy. So, yeah, there's your inactive list for the Green Bay Packers. Let's shift gears now, look at the inactives for the Giants. Now, listen, there's a bunch of players on IR. They're very, very banged up. Let's see what they're showing here in terms of the game day inactives. So Kayvon Thibodeau, outside linebacker / edge rusher, he's out. Jackson Dart out. Darius Slayton, wide receivers out. Their wide receiver core is completely depleted. That kind of plays into the fact that they got to run the ball anyway, to be honest with you, though. Safety Tyler Nubin, he's out. James Hudson, offensive lineman, out. Chauncey Golston, defensive lineman, is out. And then defensive lineman Raheem Nunez Roches is also out. So we are way healthier than they are at the moment. That's for sure. So what's your all's thoughts on that, Tim? That
definitely one of those games, right? If you're gonna lean in one direction defensively, if you're gonna quote unquote sell out against that run. I mean, make Jameis Winston beat you with his arm. They're going to clearly try and run the ball on us today. So as long as we stay stout in the run game, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. Dave C in the chat says Tibbs being out is huge for us. I completely agree. They had a decent pass rush put together, to be honest with you. Their run defense is pretty bad. It kind of goes hand in hand, though. When you're rushing aggressively, you're going to be vulnerable in the run, obviously. And, 2-0 for this.
I think Slayton and Kayvon Thibodeau are the two biggest names missing on that list for sure.
Yeah.
Other than Jackson Dart, of course.
Yeah. 2-0 for this says Jacob's just getting feedback from AFAM watching outside his window. So everybody said it was good now, I believe. Jacob, you're good now, according to the chat.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
All right, so let's move along here. As 2-0 for this also said, I'm late to the pregame show, as we did a pregame show earlier. So there's your actives and inactives for the New York Giants. Let's talk offense, guys. Let's talk about how this offense is going to match up against our defense. We kind of talked about it already. I want to say their pass defense is kind of middle of the road, somewhere around the 16, 17 spot in terms of yards, pass yards per play, or yards per pass attempt, I should say. I'll pull up the exact numbers. But the big thing is they are dead last in the league in yards per carry allowed in the running game. Jacob, I know you like to dabble in the overs and unders. We do this every week. That would lend me to believe that, hey, man, the fact that they got the 25th worst scoring defense, right? They get the 25th worst scoring offense, and they're dead last in rushing defense. Running game going to get a lot of action, especially when you add on the fact that the wind is so strong today.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it seems as if that Prize Picks is thinking the same thing. They got Josh Jacobs now is up to his over-under to 83.5. And they got Jordan Love at 9.5, smash the over, and Emmanuel Wilson at 16.5. So they are kind of thinking that we're going to lean a little bit on that run game there. But, most games I kind of want us to maybe dabble in the pass a little bit more. It seems like as of late, we've kind of just been, I don't know, very slow and sputtering to get the offense going. And I would maybe blame that a little bit on the fact that the running game is just a little bit inconsistent. But I really do feel like this is a game where we can actually pound Josh Jacobs. Just let that dude absolutely eat in the middle of that kind of suspect D-line / linebacker room / safety room. I think that if Josh Jacobs is having a game, he can smash through a lot of those guys' mouths, and it's going to be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and as you say that, and you said 16 was the over-under for Emmanuel Wilson, that makes me feel better. I feel a little bit better about the Emmanuel Wilson number than I do the Josh Jacobs, Tim, because if you are able to jump out to a significant lead, maybe they start to limit Jacobs' carries a little bit, get Emmanuel out there. Does that make sense, everybody? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I think Emmanuel 16 yards over is a little more appealing than that over
for sure, right?
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Jacob? Is that the one if you had to choose between those two, that's the best way to ask this question. Josh Jacobs over how many yards?
83.5, sorry.
Or Emmanuel Wilson
at 16.5. I'm going Emmanuel Wilson for sure.
No brainer.
Or Jordan Love at 9.5, to be honest. But
watch Emmanuel Wilson be a healthy scratch right before kickoff.
Don't say that.
You don't say that.
You don't say that.
Rooter with a super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, who has a bigger game, Watson or Golden? McManus soft benching ? With McManus, they said he got up Saturday and the quad was tight. Now, if you're insinuating maybe that's their excuse and they wanted to go and move forward with Haverstick. I can understand that, right? We know the coaches aren't going to come out and go, yeah, McManus has been bad, so we're going to go with Haverstick. They're never going to say that, right? But I do think there might be something to the quad. I would lean towards more of that than a soft benching. However, the bigger game, Watson or Golden. Watson, he led the team last week amongst receivers and snaps, right? So that would make you kind of sway in that area, right? But with the wind being the way it is, you're probably not going to be chucking those deep shots. And he's typically your go route on the dagger. He's typically your go route on the Haas concept, all those things. He's your deep climb route. And you like to use Matthew Golden as the F. Now, the F predominantly is the mesh concept, the drags, right? The spot routes, the shallow crossers, things like that. I would probably lean toward Golden over Watson. However, as you start to kind of get the gears turning, windy, you're going to probably press into a little 12 personnel and try to run the rock. If that's the case, you're probably going to have Watson out there, and there's going to be times that Golden comes off the field. Plus, Golden's banged up. So there's pros and cons to both. I would probably lean toward Watson having a bigger game than Golden, me personally. What do y'all think?
You know me, I'm not going to bet against Scoot. I'm probably going to agree with you on that one, especially with MG kind of, like you said, kind of coming back from that. It was a shoulder, I believe. So, he's probably as close to 100% as you can be. But I think he has a ball game today, though. I'm not taking anything away from Matthew Golden. We've been waiting for that breakout performance, but we'll believe it when we see it. Today could be the day. But I'm with you, man. I think it's probably Scoot has the bigger game.
Jake,
yeah, I agree with that too. It seems like the betting odds are trying to also mimic that. They have Romeo as the highest over-under at 48.5, Christian Watson at 40.5, Luke Musgrave 26.5, Dontavian 18.5, and then our boy Matthew Golden at 25.5. What I do think is even a little more interesting is they think that we're going to get Josh Jacobs a little more involved in the passing game. They have him at 21.5, which is a little bit higher than what he normally gets. And if you guys remember, in Vegas, he barely ever got thrown the ball. Like, they just did not utilize that guy in the passing game, which is, in my opinion, kind of criminal. He's really good when you get Josh Jacobs in the open space. I would argue that he's as good as Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, whatever you want to say that the top running backs are. When that dude has space to work with, he's a freaking freak. You can't tackle that guy. So
yeah, no, I would agree with that, man. I think he's a solid man. Watching the college football players yesterday, watching the college running backs was wild. Like Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame. You guys know I'm an Irish fan. He's going to be a first-round pick if he comes out next year. He's just dominant. But then you got Jadarian Price, their backup. I don't know. Did you guys see the video of him dragging the defender? Did y'all watch that? Oh, my God. Listen, this is like an all-timer for me, okay? And somebody had recorded it off their TV. We're going to show it really quick because you guys know the deal here. Somebody will nab it, and it'll get triggered for a copyright, okay? Look at this shot here. I'm gonna show it real quick, all right? Look at the jersey. Look at him dragging this kid. Look, this poor bastard. Look, one-handed, he grabs it with two. Tim, Notre Dame, man, they got a stable of running backs. This dude will be back next year for the Irish unless somebody pays him a bunch of money. So,
he not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
Love to see it. So anyway, that was fun. But, what you were saying about Josh Jacobs in space, Tim, I agree. He's so twitchy. He just doesn't have that pull-away speed, right? He don't. There's been many times he's gotten caught from behind. If he had that extra gear like Saquon had, top-end speed, somebody like that, it's untelling how many 20-mile-an-hour runs and touchdowns he would have right there. But with that being said, man, in the phone booth twitchiness, boy, he's as good as anybody in the game, man.
Absolutely. We've seen Josh make great decisions out there on the football field. And I agree. I think he's one of the better backs when the play does break down, because that happens sometimes. You got to create with your feet, keep your eyes downfield. So I would anticipate we'd probably see a little bit of Josh in that intermediate passing game today too. Like to your point, that he wasn't utilized in that fashion in Vegas, but we've seen him able to catch those swing passes and get a blocker and get that yak. So looking forward to seeing him play today.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. So in terms of the passing, we were kind of talking about that. Seth, thank you for that super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. their passing defense, they are 14th in the league in yards per pass attempt allowed at 6.5. Okay. So again, in running defense, I just want to double check, make sure nothing's changed. I don't want to give you guys false information, especially if you're putting in over-under picks. Yeah, the Giants are dead last, tied with Buffalo at 5.5 yards per carry allowed. So this game, everything just screams Packers, 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 Packers. But again, if you don't protect the football, all that goes out the window. You've got to protect the football. You win the ball, you win the game. You got to make sure you win that turnover differential. And obviously, you never know when a game's going to come down to a kick too. Yep. And here you can see we've got Matt Schneidman tweeting out really interesting fact. The Giants signed Young-Ho Koo, don't cuss on the show, over Lucas Havrasik after they both worked out for the team earlier this season. Both will kick in today's game. That's interesting seeing them right there beside each other. Obviously, Young-Ho Koo used to kick for Atlanta. He was a good kicker for a long time, from what I remember. Yeah. But
he's had the yips off and on though lately. Kind of moved around, so should be interesting.
I love the Karate Kid band there, the headband. Jacob, you got a couple of those, don't you? Keep in the office down there.
Yes, I do. I'm a black belt in many different, martial arts, if you will. And
calling it nowadays.
Just real quick. We talked about 83.5 is Jacob's over under. Tyrone Tracy is 42.5. The other back they have is Devin Singletary, obviously without the help of Scadaboo, which is very terrible that they lost him. But Devin Singletary at 22.5. They got Jameis Winston at 9.5. Matthew Golden 1.5 rushing yards, just in case you guys want to throw a little sugar on that right there. But yeah, man, I think that they're looking at this as it's going to be a.
Wait, you said 1.5 yards rushing on Matthew Golden?
Yes, sir.
Take the over. We're getting a jet sweep. Come on now.
I was going to say, but I didn't want to say.
We got it last week, didn't we?
Yeah. Yep.
That's right. I'm going to do something here a little bit different. Let's sort by run defense grade. We talked about we talked about the Giants and where they rank in terms of yards per carry, right? Allowed. Let me just double check one thing real quick with PFF. Let's go to the team grades and see how they're performing in run defense. Run defense wise, it's sorted by that. Yeah, they're 30th in run defense grade. So, yeah, everything checks out. Stick with the backs. Probably going to be running the ball heavy here today, I would imagine. So just wanted to double check that real quick. Is there anything else you guys want to look at in terms of weaknesses or strengths here to go along with the over-unders we're talking about, Jacob? Because we're gonna kind of back up and give everybody a quick reset. Quarterback, Jordan Love, over-under, that type of thing. And is there any way for you to tell if that's changed? Have you noticed it changed since the win report came out?
As far as passing yards, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't look like it's changed drastically. I believe that last night when we did the podcast, it was around 230. Yeah, I guess it has dipped a little bit. He's at 223.5. I think he was at 235 yesterday.
Okay, so dipped a little bit. Got it.
I guess my question would be take a look at their secondary. I mean, I know they're down. Newman's out. I believe they've got at least, like Jen Wright was saying, they got a corner that we could pick on as well. How are they looking pass defense?
Oh, you talking about the Giants pass defense?
Giants
grade?
pass defense, yep.
Grade, right. Okay, let's see real quick. We got a coverage grade is probably the best thing you're going to have here in terms of PFF. Coverage grade, the Giants are in the 20th spot, it looks like, at a 54.2. So they're actually a little bit lower than their yards per pass attempt allowed, right? Yep. And that probably has a lot to do with teams playing with the lead and not trying to bomb it over the top, just kind of keeping everything underneath and playing the clock here. I do want to give a shout out to a viewer we got here as Maximus Best -6 or S8Y. Packers will lose. So we got you right here, Bob. Your screen grabbed, and we hope you got enough hair on your ass to come in here for the post-game show. If they do not lose, we'll see you on the other side, okay? We appreciate you swinging through. Hit that like button while you're in here, too. I'm assuming that's a Giants fan. And
Giants fan.
Maximus loser, LOL. So there you go. All right. So did that answer your question, Tim, on the pass?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
All right. So let's move it along. We talked about quarterback. We talked about running back. What about wide receivers, Jacob? How are we feeling on wide receivers? What's the over/under starting at the top there for each receiver they've got?
Yeah, so right now, Christian Watson, or as I said earlier, Romeo Dobbs, 48.5. Christian Watson, 40.5. Lukey Musgrave, stay on his feet, 26.5. Dontavian Wicks just dipped a little bit to 19.5. Matthew Golden, 22.5. And Josh Jacobs, like I said earlier, they kind of feel like they're going to be doing a little bit of some dump routes, some flat routes to him. 21.5 yards, and usually he's not up that high. And then Emmanuel Wilson at 2.5. I do think that Emmanuel Wilson is just constant smashing that over. But if you look at what the Giants are going to try to do, as you referred to earlier, they've got just nobody left in the receiving core. It's not looking good. Obviously, Malik Neighbors, when he went down, that kind of was the heart and soul of that offense. They've got Wan'Dale Robinson at 57.5. Theo Johnson, the second-year tight end, at 42.5, and then it's basically backup tight ends and running backs and backup running backs. They got Gunnar Olszewski at 16.5. That's the only other wide receiver they're even touching with an over/under. He's at 16.5.
Got it. All right. So from the top, the leading receiver for the Packers over/under. Who is the player and what's the number?
Romeo Doubs. Have you heard of him? 58.5.
58.5. We're going over.
I'm sorry. 48.5.
48.5. We're going over or under on 48.5 for Dobby because he's another receiver that works underneath quite a bit, right? The digs, the shallow crosses, things like that. With everybody getting healthier, I would tend to lean toward the under there. How do y'all feel about that?
Yeah, I would almost lean that way too, just considering what we talked about. Probably trying to run the ball a lot today. But yeah, I could see Rome getting a lot of those targets. I wouldn't be surprised if he's right there, right at that mark. But if I was a betting man, I would take the under.
And you are not a betting man,
and
right?
I'm not a sports betting man. So meet me at a poker table. It's a different story.
Yeah, to Tim's point, I think that these guys know those over-unders very well. That's why they pick those weird, obscure numbers where you're like, oh, God, how did they do that? I think Romeo, like to Tim's point, we're going to try to run the ball early and often. I think that we're going to maybe try to get some other people involved, Christian Watson, Dontavian, maybe in a little bit of Lukey Musgrave there, and Golden obviously coming back. I hate to think that a coach's play calling is dictated by what a guy does on social media or in the media in general, but I do feel like that they want to try to make sure that Golden knows he's a part of this team, part of the mindset of what's going on in their offensive scheme. So I would look for him to get his at the 22.5. I'd smash that over. I think that Golden's going to get at least 2-3 balls, which I would hope would surpass over 22.5 yards. I think that's a more safe pick in my opinion. Christian Watson also with the 40.5. That to me, I mean, that kid can get it in one catch, maybe one or two. So the Romeo Doubs zone, for whatever reason, he's coming off that weird kind of, didn't he have like a chest injury where he left the game, and not quite sure how that's going to proceed into the next week. And that's to me is a little more of a dangerous play.
And see, I like to play unders more than overs. I feel like more can go wrong than right. Are you allowed to play unders on that?
Yes, sir. Yep. You are.
So I would take the under on Dobbs. Let's get one more receiver that we feel good about either being over or under on. Let's go with Christian Watson because that's one that people talk about a lot, right? Okay. Christian Watson's number. What's his number?
And how 40.5.
40.5 for Watson. Whoo!
And I'll just throw this out there in case you want this, and in case you like this one better. Dontavian Wicks is at only 19.5.
Over on Wicks.
That's kind of what I was thinking, Tim.
Yeah, but here's the other thing too. With Wicks, you're seeing him on a lot of out routes. Have y'all noticed that? Because his route running ability, he can get them to bend in, shake out. Out routes are hard to throw when it's windy. I mean, it's a long distance to throw the football, just a 10-yard out route, right? That one makes me – but I understand what you're saying. 19.5 is really appealing, right? I think I would go over on Wicks and under on Watson at 40.5.
Ooh.
How do y'all feel about the Watson? Would y'all go over or under 40.5?
I think I'd go
over. My
over.
heart wants to say over, but my brain wants to agree with you on this one.
Yeah. All right. Is that what you got, Jacob, or no? You going over?
If I have to be on record, I'd say over on Watson, over on Wicks. The wind is going to be whipping a little bit there, but I just feel like this team has something to prove. I feel like Matt LaFleur is going to be in his bag. I think the team wants to play for him, dust off the dirt and the dust of this kind of crappy little streak we've been on here, where people are not putting respect in their mouths about our team. And I just think they're going to come out firing.
Putting what in our mouths? So, yeah, I'm with you. You just swayed me. All right. 40.5. I'm gonna say over on Watson 40.5. So we're going under on Dobbs 48.5, over on Watson 40.5, over on Wicks 19.5. Michael Zimmerman with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. I love Golden in the short to intermediate range. And yeah, jet sweep makes sense as a complement to a run heavy game. Offensive line has to hold up, in my opinion. That's a great point. Start running those jet sweeps, especially if you get you show a couple of inside zone runs off a jet sweep action, and then you come back to it. They go, okay, they're not handing that. It's just eye candy. They bite on the jet sweep or bite on the inside zone. You're handing it off on the jet sweep. Yeah. You're off to the races.
You guys do me a favor, just because we're not going to spend more than 10 seconds on this. Give me a Giants person, wide receiver. Wandale Robinson, 58.5. Theo, 42.5. Or Tyrone Tracy, 17.5 receiving yards over under. I need one Giants person. I'm going to lock in a little bet for us, and I'll give it to the fund if we make it.
Tyrone Tracy's a running back, right? Dual threat running back. What was the number?
17.5.
I'm going to go over 17.5 for Tyrone Tracy receiving yards.
All right, I'm locking it in. Locked in, guys.
17.5. All right, cool. Enough of that. Just wanted to, I love kind of getting where the numbers are at, because obviously Vegas knows what the hell they're doing there. Thank you, Michael, for the super chat. You're the man, buddy. How do you feel about that, Tim? Because I imagine they're going to be checking the ball down quite a bit with the wind, is what I'm thinking. Now,
that was where I went right away, as I thought of taking that would be the over out of that list to take for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Little dump offs and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal, man. So there you go. There's a quick little breakdown. Good morning to you. It's funny, I know everybody's pictures now. Their names keep changing, but that's Randy, right? Good morning, Randy.
Randy, I think. Yeah. Randy.
All right. So Matt Ramage, obviously out there, boots on the ground, posted this video of Haversick with a kick. See what we got here.
Oh,
where's he kicking
from the 50? Was that a 60? Wait,
that's the 47-yard line.
47 add 10.
7-yarder.
Here we go. 57-yarder with the wind. You see the wind howling around out there too, stuff blowing around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, right in the face. Hold on. Look at the flags. That's into the wind. That's 57 into the wind.
That's good from 65.
Yeah, look at the flags on top of the goalposts. They're blowing right in his face.
A little slow motion. Look. Into the wind, boys.
Look at that.
As Bob Seger once said, in the wind.
Against the wind.
Sorry, yeah, same thing. Yeah. What are we doing?
Yo, that's good from another 10 yards. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. For it to be a essentially what we say there from the 47, so a 57-yarder.
Yep.
Woo-wee. Boot cannon. Jayco says boot cannon alert. So,
Let's
go.
That's
exciting, man. Shout out to Matt Ramage. He looks like he's having an absolute blast out there in NYC. I bet New York never been the same.
Oh, yeah. Check him out on X. He's been sharing a lot of the stuff he's been doing the last couple of days. Happy for Ramage to be out there. That's awesome.
And he seems
a lot of Packer fans too, man. A lot of Packer fans. He said he was riding the train this morning over to the stadium. There was a lot of Go Pack Goes on the train. So
yeah,
Go
man.
Pack.
And he seems to be having the same experience I had when I went to New York, man. I've been 5 or 6 times now. I love it. I've always had nothing but great experience. People have been great to me. It's just very, very people friendly. Now, I'm hanging out in Manhattan most of the time, obviously, but
I feel like that's a movie that should be made. Clayton Bailey in New York.
You're not the first person to say that. I think I've told the story about me on the subway on this show before, where me and Mandy were, we rode the subway all day long. Like, we went to the Yankees game, we went everywhere, right? And so we got off at Grand Central Station and we walked all the way down Manhattan Island. Like, I want to see it all. So we walked all the way to the southern tip to Battery Park, right? We went, grabbed lunch, this and that. We had to stop a few times to eat, use the restroom, all that. And then on the way back to Queens, where we were staying in the hotel, we jumped on the train and it was full. And I was sitting down and the lady got on the train. So I got up and let her have my seat, right? They get them bars, Tim. You're like, you're hanging on the bar. That thing's rocking. And the whole way back, I'm talking about it felt like a 20-minute ride. I don't know how long it was, but I'm hanging on that bar. And then we get in the elevator. We get back to the hotel, and we walk in the elevator, and Mandy just collapsed laughing. I'm like, what the hell is she laughing about? And she looked down, and where we had stopped, my fly was wide open, bro. I'm talking about boxers hanging out. Open, you know what I mean? And all I could think about was being on that train and everybody's face in there. You know what I mean? The fly wide open. So, yeah. You can take the redneck out the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out the redneck.
Mrs. Green absolutely stole my thunder. This was the joke I was trying to make, but my stupid sick brain couldn't make it work. She says, Home Alone 5, Clayton, lost in New York.
Mandy will tell you.
Starring Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern and Clayton Bailey.
She can't take me nowhere, dude. And they loved her, boy. They heard her accent. Oh, she was the hit. They were just like, yeah, everybody fell in love. Anybody who meets Mandy, they're just like, she's as country as cornbread.
She's a gem, though. She has a way of making you feel so happy right away. It's weird. When I brought her cheese curds for the first time, I thought I was giving like a newborn child like their first Christmas present. She was just elated.
Dude, we got another kid. You guys have not had to pay one super chat for Kicker Talk, and we have just Kicker Talk has absolutely dominated. Look at this. Caden, great follow over on X at Caden Sunila. Look at this one, boys. This is from Dave Schroeder. I guess is how you say the name. Lucas Haversick from 63 yards left to right in pregame warmups. So this is a 63-yarder he's kicking here.
Information that could have been useful last week. No,
is that not a punt? Where's he at? Did he kick it yet? What are we? Is he talking about the punt?
No, that's a kick. Right on the logo, right on the G.
Oh yeah,
right
yeah.
Holy moly!
And left to right. So that's another thing. We talk about the kid having a thunder leg, but also the ability to play the wind and to not pull it or not push it. I love it.
And it looks like, so for everybody who's watching the game today, the TV cameras, right, Tim, when they're going from left to right, as it sits right now, and it's very.
It looks like the wind's going that way. Yeah,
it looks like you're going to have the wind that direction. However, we know it can change quick, right? So, Holy cow, man, that's going to be wild. So
this could be one of those games. I mean, we saw it 2 weeks ago, I believe, in Pittsburgh, right, where we had winds as well, and so it's coin toss could actually really matter. You know, do you defer? Do you choose the side? You want that wind at your back, you know, going into that second half, that fourth quarter, to close a game out, because you never know. It could come down to Mr. Having a kick, you know.
Hey, just since we're on the kicker talk and guys are just, you know, having a field day listening to this without having a super chat, what happens? I posed you a question. What happens if Haversick comes out and kicks, let's say, a 60-yarder? 63-yarder, whatever it is. He's 3 for 3. He wins us the game. The conversation immediately, you know, is going to start on Packers Twitter. Would you guys be, which side of the fence, I guess, would you be on, of whether or not we have to, I don't want to say replace McManus, but, you know, NFL, not for long. Like, if you're not able to make the kicks, and if you're not able to be there, you know, successfully week after week, like, what do you guys think we do going forward, trying to make the playoffs in a do or die situation? Do you start seeing a situation where you're like, all right, let's let the kid have a chance?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, I don't know how you feel, Tim, but if he goes out there and he's perfect today, then you give him another shot next week. And until McManus is 100% healthy, and even then, you play the hot foot, right? Like, as long as he continues to kick great. Here's the problem. I think that he's going to have a struggle. There's going to be a time where he hits a rut. And if the focus then immediately goes, I'll get him the hell out of here, right? Yeah. And now we bring McManus back, and he's cold, and now he's got to get ramped back up. I'm going to have flashbacks to Anders Carlson and whoever else it was. Who was it? Greg Joseph, right? Sound like
the Narv dog. Don't forget about Narv dog.
I forgot about Narvis.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I truly believe you know, like what Randy's saying here, right? Put your best players on the field. Absolutely. Right, Tim?
Yep. Period. Who's putting the kick through the uprights? That's what matters. And I'm with you, Clayton, too. Like, at this point, we can speculate all we want about McManus, you know, convincing the boys that he was good to go and all of this stuff. If he's not 100% healthy, I don't even want to entertain the thought. He's getting older. The fact that we brought Haversick in here and we've seen good things, we have to allow him to continue to build on those good performances. And I'm with you, Clay. If he kicks well today, give Brandon more time to heal up and let this kid continue to kick for us down the stretch. And, you know, you make those decisions as you go, push towards the playoffs. But, I mean, if McMoney's not healthy, man, I think we already see what that looks like, right? If he's not 100%, we've seen what those kicks look like. So yeah, I'd keep the hot leg, you know, Haversick for sure.
Yeah, it looks like the chat agrees with you, Tim. And, you know, I will say, we're not here to look back and say what if kind of thing. Like we always talk about, we're more of a glass half full type podcast here, but it does, you know, kind of irk me a little bit that I believe that Haversick in that 63-yarder, whatever it was, where McManus went out there, clearly was not healthy. It just seems clear that at that point that he shanked that kick. It wasn't blocked. I think that we have a better chance if a guy like Haversick is in there, and that just, it's a tough pill to swallow. And I understand why certain Packer fans sectors are a little bit upset about that. But at the same time, McManus has done nothing but be a consummate pro. He's done what he needs to do. I've never heard him complain. I've never heard him say anything rough. I've never heard him do anything other than just kind of toe the company line. And that's what we ask of guys when they come into Green Bay. And I think that he's done specifically exactly what we asked him to. And whether or not we've asked him to do too much when he's not, ready and capable health-wise, that's not on him. And I'm not going to throw any shade on him. I just will say that it's the NFL. We got to put our best out there, like a previous comment said.
Anytime you're looking at a specialist too, they're under
right.
that microscope, right?
Good point.
You're a place kicker, you're a punter. The likelihood that they're going to let you play through it if you're struggling is a lot less. Not for long, right? Miss a couple of kicks, can't stay healthy, consistency. You're not going to be on the field for sure.
Yeah. So we got a couple comments here I want to hit on. Turt McGirt said, just IR him for return. You got to wait 4 weeks if you go that route. So we got an extra roster spot. Well, the last thing I think you want to do, Turt, and the reason they haven't done it, if you put him on IR for 4 weeks and then Haversick goes out here and craps the bed, now you're stuck with him for 4 weeks, right? So you can kind of play it week to week in this regard. And listen, those guys are going to stay motivated too. They know I'm one miss away from going back to the bench. Now, this is a great point here. Ben in the chat, good to see you, buddy, says, you paid McManus. That's a huge factor. This is what I wanted to highlight here. Look at the contract, though. This is a big misconception among the fan base. Somebody had tweeted out, yeah, but you made a 3-year commitment. You did not make a 3-year commitment. If you look at the details of the contract, okay, yes, you signed him for 3 years. So you got him under contract this year, next year, and 2027, okay? The cap hit this year, $3.4 million. Next year, 5.3. Then the following year, 6.2. But here's the number you want to key in on. Look at the dead cap. This year, the cap hit is 3.4. The dead cap is 5.1. So you're going to come out in the negative if you cut him and just move on, right? Nobody's suggesting in the chat that we should do that. I understand. You move to next year, the cap hit jumps to 5.3. The dead cap is only 3.3. What that means is you could cut him outright after this year and free up $2 million in cap space. And he's already off the books. See what I'm saying? Because the dead cap accelerates. Yeah. So that's what this potential out in 2026 means with the 1 year, $7 million with 3.3 in dead cap. So essentially, it's a 1 plus a 2 and a 3, meaning the team can get out after 1. Guess what? Same thing with Nate Hobbs. It's a 1 plus 3. Same thing with Aaron Banks. It's a 1 plus 3. So that's kind of how that kind of comes into play.
Clayton, everything you said sounds great, but we have an expert in the chat. Maximus Best again says Packers need a new coach. Packers need a new quarterback. You know what? You're right, dude. You are freaking right. Why don't you have your own podcast? You know a lot.
Receiver by 10 yards.
Right. Anyway, so hey, we can agree to disagree, right? Maybe that's Corey from Ohio. That could be
gone.
I love it too. They come in talking trash, and someone isn't a Packer fan when they have to tell you they're a Packer fan. No, I'm a Packer fan. Got it, Bob. And I'm
Heard
a damn
it from a fan right here.
All right. So again, just want to point that out I think we're in a good spot with kicker. I think we would all agree we're in a much better spot than we were with the other three stooges, right? Like that we had before. This just constant rotation. So you've got two guys. I have a lot of confidence in both guys when they're healthy. But the problem with McManus is obviously he's getting older. He's 34, he'll be 35 next year. So that muscle stuff is not just going to magically get better, right? As Mark Tauscher said, as you get older, when you start to have those muscle strains, those pulls, those tears, it typically gets worse. It don't just magically fix itself. So,
I think it's important to think about that. If he doesn't make these kicks, he has to go back to being a substitute teacher. Have you guys ever dealt with kids these days? You think he wants to go back and deal with 6'7" and bet and and all that kind of crap? No, he wants to kick. He's kicking for his literal life right now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Brambo with the super chat. Thank you, Brambo. Appreciate you, buddy. He says Packers need a better what? A fan? What's that mean?
Better.
Class. There it is.
Better
class. There you go. Yeah. I agree.
Speaking for him now. I don't know though. But anyway, thank you for the super chat there, Brambo. Listen, the fans. I try not to take like one opinion or even a handful of opinions and say this is how Packer fans feel. That's why I like to do poll questions. I like to fire those up when a big hot button topic comes and go, okay, maybe this is how the fan base feels. And you know what? If the large majority feels away, I'm not going to be the ass hat that sits here and says, oh, nope, I'm right and everybody's wrong. I got to kind of get on board and try to understand, okay, why are we to that point? But this whole fire on the floor crowd and stuff that's gotten out of hand.
Can we put Jen Wright's comment up real quick from earlier?
Which one?
There are some people who don't know anything but what the national media blows up their ass.
That's 100% true in so many aspects. Yes, Jen, you're right.
Definitely. Now, when you look at Haversick, right, he's only 26 years old. And here's what's cool. You see that ERFA right there, baby? That means he's an exclusive rights free agent. Okay. So if we want him back, we can have him back. No problem. Right. Really, for the next 2 or 3 years is typically how that works out. So again, as long as you keep playing it the way you're playing it, just don't put him on the practice squad, because I guarantee you there's a good chunk of teams that would swoop him up real quick. You know what I mean? So got to keep your eye on that as well. But no, you're not wrong at all, Jim. You're spot on. So Cole in the chat says Toyotathon starts today equals 4 love touchdowns. Is it Toyotathon, boys? Is it here?
I think it is, bro. I think we're right up in that season, dude.
We go right from Toyotathon into Matt LaFleur's December to remember. You know what I'm saying, man? That's Lexus.
Isn't it funny how stupid those commercials are, though? Like you walk out and you're like, you bought me a car.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the wife being like, we are broke. What are you doing? Like, we don't have money for a car.
But you remember them, and that's the goal.
Yeah,
I got a buddy who owns a business down here in Kingsport. And the first time I sat down in his office with him, he had his work shirt on, a little polo, and his name was written. The name of his business was written backwards. And I kept glancing at it. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? What is going on? Like, does he not know that's backwards? And he's an old head, right? He's in his 60s, very successful. I mean, extremely successful business owner. I'm just a young business owner, right? And I just asked him, I said, Kev, I got to ask, man, what's up with the logo? You know it's backwards, right? And he went, yeah. I went, why did you do that? He said, what'd you just do? I said, I asked you why your logo was backwards. He said, and you'll remember it if we don't know each other. Like, hell, that's advertising, right? That's what you're trying to do.
101, baby.
Yeah. So, okay, got it. You know what I thought of immediately? Jerry Jones. Any publicity is good publicity. It's the first thing I thought was, even if they think I'm an idiot, they'll remember the name of my business. And if they ever need siding, guess who they're calling, right? That's the way that works. So I don't do siding. He did, but that's beside the point. So beside the point, you see what I did there. All right. Anything else you want to hit on? That would have been the perfect time for the where's it at here? End it with this. All right. J. Cole says, hey, Jacob, I heard Kay Adams is looking for a relationship. See, now, this is how it gets off the rails. Jacob raising the roof like it's 1998. Unbelievable, man. Go ahead, Jacob. Get any comments on it?
I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. I'll tell you that. Just saying.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked. And
Don't put that name in my mouth right there.
Unbelievable. Are we about ready to wrap this show up? I feel like this is the longest pregame show we've ever done. What else we need to hit on here? Let's talk our defense against our offense here real quick. All right. So how do you guys feel about Jameis Winston? Does it make you nervous that he's the starting quarterback over Russell Wilson?
No.
Right, Jacob, you have the floor. Go ahead, and then we'll have Tim.
It does. Jameis Winston has a unique power where he can just harness people's. Just don't do that. Don't do that. When he can harness when you have a group of men that are absolutely down in the dumps, they're looking for something to invigorate them. They're looking for something to give them life, to make them think that this season.
Back, dude.
Thank you. Exactly, Tim. And this is what I fear is that they're going to get riled up. They're at home. They're doing whatever they, trying to just. Jameis Winston is that guy. He's the guy where you're like, nothing could ever make sense. Let's send in a crazy psycho. And Jameis is like, all right, bet. And he just walks in and he's going to start talking to these guys, getting them hyped up. I really do think that we have to be a little more humbled. If we win this game by a short margin, I'll consider that a great win. I do think that he is a little bit of a difference maker as far as the emotion. I think that's what I bring to the podcast. I'm more of an emotion guy. I'm not necessarily analytical. Clayton can tell you the X and O's. Emilio can do that. Tim is very honed in. I'm more of kind of like the emotional guy. And right now, it scares the poop out of me that Jameis Winston is smiling ear to ear. Did you see what he wore to the pregame? Guy's in style, bro. He is full Jameis. I am a little nervous.
We're going to get Tim's opinion, but I already know what it is, and it's this.
Built to ass.
PTA. You know what I'm saying?
Tim, you have the
That's
floor.
right. As far as being humbled, I mean, I think that's happened the last 2 weeks in a row. This team's been humbled. And I believe in this defense. I think we're going to walk in there and kick some ass today. That being said, I respect Jameis Winston's game. Like to Jacob's point, this guy has done this numerous times before and has kind of willed teams to victory and those sort of things. But scared of Jameis and Winston?
Scared money don't make money.
We ain't scared, man. You seen this defense? Carrington Valentine's going to get a pick today. Our backers are going to play well. Our front's going to play well against the run. I'm not scared. No, Pac's getting the dub. Let's go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jacob?
I'm very hopeful. I expect us to win this game. I just can see some stupid writing on the wall where Jameis Winston is doing some crazy post-game, addressment to the team like he does. And dude, like guys love to play for this guy. He really gets them jacked. He does.
Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'll tell you who else is jacked to be out here today, boys, and that's our guy Jordan Love out there warming up, throwing to Christian. You see Romeo there. You see Matthew Golden suited up. Who's that over there? That's Wicks right there, right? I'm excited to watch Wicks today too, man. I feel like Wicks has gotten better this year. I know he had that third down drop, but he also seemed like several third down plays. I know there was at least two, but there were several times that he made plays in that game against the Eagles. Obviously, just couldn't put it together enough to get in the end zone and obviously pull out the dub. But what do y'all think, man? The way Jordan's throwing the football right here. Let's see if we can pick up on the wind any at all right here. Kind of hard on a little 10-yard pass, right? 15-yard pass. But.
So he'd be throwing into the wind based on our logic here. And you can see this is definitely get it out fast, nose down. We don't want anything sailing on us today for sure.
Yeah. Jen has a comment in there saying X speech is amazing. Is there any way that we could? Does that mean a pregame speech or like a hype them up kind of thing? I don't know if Jen, if you could clarify that for us, because I would love to see that if that's something we could try to screen grab. But
if she could tell me if it's on X somewhere, we'll find it and we can cover up the screen and probably play the audio for sure. So I'd love to know. Keep on going.
What do you think about tool for this talking about? I mean, I've known, or I think a lot of NFL fans have known that the Giants Stadium is kind of notorious for having just a slop, dirty swamp, freaking, field. I think it's because it gets played on so often. What do you think? Are you worried about that, or are we doing are we doing the 2-inch cleats? Are we doing those today, or what are we doing, Tim?
I've always said the only thing stupider than turf is turf outside. It behaves differently in the elements when you're on an artificial surface outdoors. I'll never understand it,
especially when it's that cold, right? Like there's no
cold, damp,
adhesive. Yeah.
I think I found it, Jacob. But give me just a second. I'm going to mute my mic and listen and see if I can.
Yeah, you're good. J. Cole says, I wish people would stop with the overrated word. If you can't run around the block without it sitting down, you shouldn't talk about it being overrated. I think I understand what he's saying, Tim. Do you I mean, to be fair, I would argue that people say the Packers are overrated right now, even though we've lost a total of 3 games, 9 points. We've just basically understood that our kicker has been playing hurt during those times, which should, if you could plug in a 3-point play on any of those games, which I have been very vocal that I think we probably should have done, being a little more conservative in certain play call situations. Overrated, I wouldn't use that as the Packers. I don't think that's true. I think that they've shown that they are playing. When you got a guy like Jalen Hurts, who most people would consider, or a lot of people could consider the best team in the NFL, says that's the best defense we played all year.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think we're overrated. Look at the schedule.
I think we're underrated.
How many times did we get our asses kicked this year?
None.
How many games? How many? One? What? Which one? How many games were we not in?
Yeah, that's true.
This year, we were not, blown out of the building once. So to say we're overrated, I think I don't know. I think that's doing a little too much right now. I think we're grinding out a tough NFL season right now, and we're just past the halfway point, and this is a get-right game for this team. We got to get it done. Now, if they don't today, there's going to be some even tougher conversations that need to be had, because this is a football game that you have got to go out and get it done. 0 excuses. Win by 1, win by 100. I don't care. Get the dub, period.
That's what Gary Ellerson said. Yep,
Jen
Gary
just
Ellerson said, yeah, just win. 1 point or 100. Gary Ellerson said, you just need to win the game. Just win the game. That's all you need to do. And here's the thing about the overrated talk. There's a portion of people that cover the Packers that they live on that roller coaster. And I mean, listen to me, they literally live on it. Their numbers are dictated by the fans and the demographic that they draw in, right? And that demographic that they're looking for are the overly emotional fans, the ones that think we're winning the Super Bowl, we're going undefeated, all the way down to the ones that think this is the worst team in the league. And their goal, I'm just telling you, I'm being honest, their goal is to keep them as close to one end of the spectrum or the other all 18 weeks of the season. That's their goal. Because that's what drives the outrage, the shock. They call it, don't they call it shock jock talk or whatever, right? That's the whole idea. Never want this channel to be that. I want this channel.
They're Howard Stern in the 90s.
I want this channel to be, what is the actual story? What actually happened? Let's try to remove the emotion. We're going to get emotional. We're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. We've been cutting up this whole pregame show. But the goal is, what is actually happening on the field? What does the tape show? What does the analytics show? What's everybody's opinion? Let's throw it all in a pot and have a conversation. But I'll be damned if I'm buying into – it's just like this. I'm going to name drop him. I personally like listening to him because he's an old, crusty radio dude. But Homer, the Homer Hour, I like him because that's the type of sports talk I grew up on, and it gives me just a certain sense of nostalgia. I'm sure Tim agrees. But what did he say when they beat the Lions after week 1? He said, the North's already over. We've already won the North. The Packers will run away with the NFC North.
Oh, boy.
2 weeks later, he said, I don't know if this is a playoff team. What now? Now, he's not stupid. He's covered sports for a long time, right? Why did he do that? The emotional roller coaster that draws people in. What's he going to say next, right?
Yep.
I'd rather have less viewers. But like Turt says, I love Homer too. 6 o'clock, I'll tune in just to hear what the old guys got to say, man. Because one thing about Homer, he probably don't have to do this. Doesn't he call Marquette basketball games and stuff, right? He's like an announcer, I think, the play-by-play for Marquette. He can do a lot of stuff, but he still talks Packers every day. I can appreciate that. Jen Wright differs. She says,
going hard.
All knee-jerk reaction. And see, that's the thing. What Gary Ellerson,
give him some
former Packers and Wisconsin Badger running back Gary Ellison said the other night, you could tell Homer was trying to tee him up to be like, what happens if what do they need to do in this game for it to be satisfied? He was already setting the stage for you better beat them by 20 points or it's not going to be successful, right? And Gary just kept cutting him off and go, no, you just need to win the ball game.
Yep.
You just need to win the ball game. I mean, if people continue to get in their mind that NFL teams should consistently blow other teams out, what makes you so egotistical that you think you know more than Las Vegas? Why ain't the money line set like that? Right?
It makes you think that even matters. Like,
right.
Who cares? You win by 40 or you win by 1. You don't get extra bonus points for beating somebody by 4 or 5 scores.
Yeah.
A win is a win is a win.
There you go. Turk McGirt said he's been doing the play-by-play for Marquette for like 30 years, right? And you can go pull the old videos. We've watched them on here a time or two on YouTube, haven't we, guys? Of him in a sports bar with Brett Favre throwing a football around. They had a Wisconsin State trooper clocking it, right?
I remember that, yeah.
Breaking glasses off the bar and everything. So I like the old school guys. I do, man. But yeah, it's I don't know. I just can't stand that whole. And again, I gotta stop bashing people. I gotta stop calling them out. But you guys know who I'm talking about on the daily. That's their goal, is just to divide the fan base. What negative? When things are going good, how can we find something negative to talk about? When things are going bad, how can we try to pretend like, well, they promised us this? You want to know my biggest pet peeve? You want to get me on a damn rant?
Yeah.
Is when the sports media says, well, they told us they were going to have a good pass rush. Who said that?
Yeah.
You won't find a presser where Matt LaFleur said, we're going to have a great pass rush. We're going to dominate.
Yep.
You guys wrote stories about that. And then when it don't live up to the expectations, now you're turning around going, well, who said that? What happened? It's wild. It's just a wild way to, I don't know, man. And again, it draws people in like that. And I'm with Jen. I need more positivity in my life.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jen has a great comment there. You know what? One of the best comments, I can't remember who said the quote, but basically the long and short of it was, don't believe your own press conferences, meaning don't believe your own BS. There are teams, there are organizations, there is media people that are going to sit there and put out what they claim is the truth, and then they expect everybody to eat it up with a fork and spoon. And it's like, nah, man, like you have to just understand that sometimes there's a such thing as a coach speak, there's a such thing as player speak, but then there's also the truth. And then somewhere in the middle, usually you'll find the actual truth. And I feel like a lot of the Packers organization, to Clayton's point, they're just kind of bait and hook for every single freaking drama thing, every single just negative story you can find. And that's just not the way I want to live my life. To Jen's point, I need positivity in my life. There is so much darkness and stupid crap. Let's just focus on what's good. And hopefully we get to do that at the end of the game today. Join us in the post game. Let's be positive, bruh.
I like what Goose said here. He said, good to see you, Goose. Hope you're doing well, but I hope
what's up,
family's doing great, man. He says, seems a lot of fans think that all the injuries shouldn't affect the team. That's the other, you can't use that as an excuse. Bet me.
Yeah, you can
use that as an excuse. So the player talent don't matter then? Every injury has come to key players that really affects the team, specifically on offense. Amen to that, man. Amen.
True.
And Jen Wright, you asked about the video. Guys, you got to go watch that video. It's on X. I just retweeted it. And it's basically, Tim, I just now hit me. Xavier McKinney is returning to New York.
Yep.
Where he started his career.
Oh.
So it's kind of a message about the city and this and that, but there is music in the background. The second I play that, it'll pick up the music, copyright, and they'll take the video down. So I can't do that. But
let's add a pick to the list for X today too. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm calling it two picks
awesome.
from Jameis today at least. One to X and one to CV. Let's go.
How cool would that be, dude? X just went out there and balled out. So definitely.
Let's do
All
it.
right. What else we got, guys? Anything else you want to hit on? We kind of talked about the over-unders a little bit. We went under on Dobbs, 48.5, over on Watson, 40.5, over on Wicks, 19.5, and over on one Giants player, running back Tyrone Tracy with 17.5 receiving yards. Anything else y'all want to hit on before we get ready to wrap this big bear up?
I would just maybe ask the chat. We're not going to do anything, betting wise. Dave X, Dave, 58 to 6. There you go. That's realistic. If you want to do score predictions, maybe throw them in the chat real quick, but I'm more interested on Gary and Parsons. Are these guys going to get home today? Jameis obviously is a little bit of a mobile quarterback, not so much as he's, aging, getting a little bit more long in the tooth. But for once, I really do want to, don't get me wrong, I am an absolute fan of this Packers defense all year. I think that they have been grossly underrated, but I want to see a guy like like Micah and Gary take advantage of maybe a backup quarterback situation. We looked at the PF preview. Not a great offensive line other than their left tackle. Not great in the wide receiver room or the tight end room. So it's not like, Theo Johnson, to my point, was a good second-year tight end. More of a receiving, I would argue. And so can we exploit their weaknesses, absolutely dominate a game for once? Let's do that. Let's come out, shush the haters. If we can do that, I think a lot of Packers opinions are going to shift drastically. I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
You're muted, brother.
Sorry about that. All I'm thinking about is a dub. That's it.
It doesn't matter how we get it. Just want
the
it.
dub. The dub. Put the dub up. Dub. Leaving New York with a dub, or leaving New Jersey with a dub. That's all that matters.
Forget about it. So
forget about it.
Before the win came into factor, I picked this on the NFC North Roundtable this week. I said Green Bay 24-17. All right. Green Bay has the 17th ranked scoring offense, the 5th ranked scoring defense. The Giants have the 25th scoring offense, 25th scoring defense. I felt like 24-17. You can't take your prediction back. That's playing bad pool right there. But with the win, maybe you dip that down another 6 points or so, right? Maybe it's something like 17-3, or maybe it's 21-10, something like that, right? But I think the Packers win this one by at least a touchdown, maybe a couple scores. I just feel good, man. I feel good. I think this team's motivated. I think they're ready to go. And I think Matt LaFleur will have them out there. I think something happened there with Heath. I don't know, man. Again, I don't have the details, but I just wonder if Matt went in there and kind of rattled some cages and was like, listen, this stuff's got to stop. And I know there's people that don't want to hear that, because there is a portion of the fan base that's convinced Matt LaFleur sucks. He can't play call. There's nobody open. It's all his fault. But
sit your butt outside.
When you watch the tape, here's how I feel really, really confident about what we're talking about. The people I trust, listening to them talk about this game. We went and watched the tape, and we came out going, boys, there was a lot of plays left on that field. I can understand why Matt's frustrated, right? Mm-hmm. You had your backup cornerback playing receiver, trying to catch crucial passes on the fourth down, right? And then you hear Kurt Warner, first ballot Hall of Famer, break the tape down. And listen, Kurt Warner is notorious for siding with quarterbacks. He will almost always go, well, I understand what the quarterback's seeing here. I understand what he's doing here. He came away from that game. Every time he showed a play, it was, Jordan's got to get off that read quicker and get here. There's an answer to the, and people hear that and they go, oh, no, Jordan Love sucks. No, get off the roller coaster. He had a bad game reading the defense. That's what it was. The good thing is there are people open. The scheme does work. You just got to get the ball out of your hand. You got to read it properly and everything fall into place. Great quarterbacks have bad games. Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback. Some would argue a top 5 quarterback when he's really on. Again, it's bringing everything back to center and exactly what Tim said, win the damn ball game. That's all that matters. If Jordan goes out and throws for 70 yards, I don't care. Win the ball game. If he has to go out there and throw for 300, I've seen somebody just tweet. Another guy does a podcast. He said, and oh no, it's overtime. And he put nobody. Like, why are we even talking like that? Like what he's insinuating is, watch this go to overtime. We're all going to be like, oh, yeah. I don't care if it goes to the last second of overtime. Get the dub. That's all that matters. Why do we want a fan like that? So, 1-0 every week. And who says that? Matt LaFleur. And when he says that, sports media and everybody just rolls their eyes. Oh, it's a cute little saying. No, he's trying to shake up the youngest team in the league and go, guys, we have got to focus. Everything is right here to be had, and we're not focusing enough is what it comes down to. And there's been former offensive linemen. Why is the run blocking game not working?
Yeah.
They don't say they're not good enough. They don't say they're not strong enough. They're not fast enough. You know what they say? It's technique. They're not focused on technique.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we think they're not teaching the proper technique? It's worked in the past. Look at Josh Jacobs last year, right? I remember the talk being when he came from Vegas was, oh, he'll have a much better offensive line to run behind here. Remember him talking like that?
Mm-hmm.
So, and now here we are, all of a sudden the offensive line can't block.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Sorry, it's just crazy to me that we still have this sector of the Packers fan base where they pretend that Matt LaFleur isn't literally like the 10th or 11th winningest coach of all time, that he has literally the youngest team now for like 3 years in a row, that he's dealing with offensive injuries and defensive injuries that are absolutely would shut down most teams completely in their place, that he's not dealing with the fact that he's got a fan base that doesn't want to put any kind of trust behind him, the fact that he's got kicker issues, the fact that he's got this and that. We're still almost going to be in the lead of our freaking division, people. We are so spoiled. I just can't get over the freaking selfishness and the wallowing and we should have a better quarterback. Who's the better quarterback you're going to sign? Who's the better freaking coach you're going to sign? Who's the better GM you're going to sign? It doesn't make sense to me. It's just doom scrolling and black pill BS. Sorry.
You heard it from a fan right here.
And that's it. That's how we'll end it. Listen, we'll be back live for the post-game show, win, lose, or draw. You heard that right. All right. We will be in here talking about what happened, why did it happen, giving you instant reaction. And then, of course, we'll go into breaking down the tape and everything throughout the rest of the week. The reality of what's on the line today, if the Packers beat the Giants, okay, first of all, they're still in the playoffs right now, okay? If the Packers beat the Giants, the Vikings beat the Bears, and the Eagles beat the Lions, which I think we would all agree that's all doable. All of a sudden, the Packers are back in first place in the NFC North, and there's a good chance they're the number 3 seed in the NFC all of a sudden. And here's what's crazy. Worst case scenario, we could fall out of the playoffs, and next week, everything go right, and we're right back in the playoffs. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Everything's going to be just fine. So it's going to be fun to look at Miami. Are they winning? Did they win again, 16-13?
Somebody said Miami won.
Remember 2 weeks ago, Tim, Miami is just the worst team. And oh my God, it's what, and here I think they've run off 2 in a row. Somebody was laying out their schedule going, there's a good chance they could win 5 in a row here. Yep. Right. Again, It's just week to week, man. So we'll give you guys all the updates and everything in the post-game show. We'll show you what happened through the early 1 o'clock window and give you kind of an update on the playoff machine, all that good stuff. And then we'll all kind of set the stage for the Detroit Lions game that we get to kick back, relax, and watch this evening. So Jacob, Tim, appreciate y'all's time. Everybody in the chat, thank y'all for hanging out. Seth Reuter with the super. And Seth, I appreciate you on Twitter, buddy. I really appreciate the support you showed this week. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That means a lot to me, buddy. Michael with the super chat, Brambo as well. And that's it. We will get out of here. We'll see y'all for the post-game show. Enjoy the game. No drinking and driving out there. All right, boys.
Go Pack, go.
There. Be safe. Be responsible. I bet Matt Ramage ain't been responsible in New York all week, man.
Got an Uber.
We need a doc. He got a new. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need a documentary on that whole trip. We got to get that together, docu-series. So appreciate you, Bates. Everybody have a great game. We'll see you afterwards.
We're out. Bye, guys.